Why do I paint? Welcome to Graceful Art Designs. This is one of my paintings I did some time ago, an acrylic blowout, and I'm going to transform it today into something more, something lovelier, something not so abstract, something much more concrete. So stay tuned and see what I'm going to change it into. I have quickly drawn in and sketched an outline of a beautiful bride in her wedding dress. And what's going to be different about this is that the wedding dress is not going to be white. It is white, but it's going to just reflect. It's going to be very light white so that it reflects the beautiful colours of the Dutch pour underneath. And obviously her face will be some more natural colours, and her hair, well, I might leave some of this shining through. I'll see what's going to happen. But first I had to just quickly sketch an outline in silver, and now I'm going to paint it in white so that I can at least see where I'm going and see how much of the original painting I will retain in the dress and how much I will leave in the background, because it was really the background that I wanted, the sunset background, and I think it's like these colours just lend themselves to a lovely sunset background. But I do want some of it to reflect in the dress, so I will quickly do the outline with the oil paint and see where that takes me. So that briefly is the outline of the girl in white, and I'm going to just quickly take this outline and drag it into the painting. The paintbrush has got quite a lot of oil on it. This is the body, and this is the veil that comes across her body and coming down from her hair. So I don't want this outline to form a thick line, so I want to incorporate it while it is still wet. In her hand she's holding a posy of flowers. So I want this to form a rigid line, so I need to just smooth it out while it's wet. And it is going to go into the body, it's going to have to. I mean, she's got to be distinct from the surroundings. And although it is lovely in the dress, I really do want it in the surroundings more than in the bride, although she is the main subject here. She needs to be in white, and because white is, well, it's opaque, but it's not completely opaque, not depending on what you're covering, but I don't think it's going to cover this completely. You will see highlights of this showing from underneath. But before I forget, I need to, I added too much white on there. I need to drag this white in to the painting, and so I'll do the rest off camera. So with that small brush, I've managed to drag in most of the white into the body. I haven't done much with the face, but I've now taken a bigger brush and a lot of oil, so it's quite thinned out, and I'm going to just spread the paint over the dress. So that's going to be done, as the painting of the face is going to take a lot more time and effort, and really going to be difficult to decide how much, if any, of the underpainting to allow to shine through the painting of the face. But this is an abstract painting after all. It can only be as realistic as I decide to make it, but it's not going to be completely realistic. It's abstract realism, because I'm using an underpainting, not just as an underpainting, but as part of the painting, so it will show through. Like that, you can see it's white, but it is showing through, and once it's dry, it will show through even more. That's the outline broadly, and I've dragged the white all over into the body of the dress and the veil and the face. And now I'm going to paint the face without a photograph, without anything. It's just going to be from my imagination. If it looks like anybody, then it does. If it doesn't, then it doesn't. But I just want to draw a beautiful bride. And so I've got burnt umber, I've got burnt sienna, I've got some quinacridone rose, and I've got some pyrrole red for the roses. And I want the white to dry a little bit on her face because I need to make a flesh tone, I think. And it's not going to work unless it's on the white. It's not going to work on that deep maroon background. So I'll let that dry a bit. But I'm going to use the burnt sienna to paint in her hair. First I'll paint in the stalks of the roses here. See if they become visible. That's right on some gold that happens to be there. And let's see if I can get some brown into her eyes. Well, the brown is turning out nice and brown. Anyway, and so I'll continue and I'll bring you back when there's more to see. I painted in the hair, which is brown, and there's the veil coming over it there. And up there are going to be some little roses. And now I've got some burnt sienna mixed with white on my brush to paint in the skin, which I thought was going to be too dark, but it's actually, I thought it was going to be too light, but it's actually too dark. I thought it would mix with the white underneath. But anyway, so for this I'm using a smaller brush and just painting it lightly. It's nice and wet and smooth, so it's flowing nicely. I had varnished the acrylic pour underneath, so that's why it's flowing so nicely, I think. Which is fine, you can paint over varnish, which is a spray varnish. Okay, so now I've painted away some of her eyebrows. That's okay, put that back. And so I'll continue. Each of these paintings where I use an acrylic pour and paint out is different, and I have different feelings about them. So the painting is coming along, I'm getting her face done, and what's nice about painting on the background of an acrylic pour, which is very smooth, is you can easily wipe away your mistakes with a cloth, with a dry cloth, which is what I've been doing. But now I'm thinking I should actually have left her dress in the colours of the background and painted away the background, because although it's going to be a nice sunset background, it's got these different colours where you've got this dark maroon in between and it's just too dark. Of course I could paint that in the lighter mauve and sort of blend it together, which is probably what I'm going to have to do. Either that or I have to wipe away the white of her dress, but I think the oil has been on for a bit too long now. So yeah, these are choices one just doesn't know one is going to make until one is actually busy on the canvas. But whatever, I will continue, and let's see where it takes me. I mean, I could put a tint of rose in the white dress. I'm thinking of doing that, but I'm not sure yet. So I'm going to just do a little bit more in her face now. I'm painting the eyebrows. That's still too wet. And her ears as well. And yeah, I think I need to paint that part of the ear away. And I think I'll put the the mouth in now. And then I'll see, I'm still undecided, maybe I should try to paint away the rest of the dress. I was lucky, I wiped away the dress. I decided I'm going to keep the dress in the colours of the blowout, and I'm going to paint away the rest. And I'll paint it with this cerise maroon mixture, which I should be able to make. It's a combination of purples and mauves, and obviously the colours in oil are not exactly the same in acrylic, but it looks like a magenta and a mauve mixture that I used. So I'll cover, there are parts like this where I really would have liked to keep that rosy bit, but that's how it goes. I want to keep this in the dress and in the veil, and so I'm going to have to paint away the rest. So that's what I'm going to do now. First I'm going to just quickly paint in an outline of her mouth so it doesn't look quite so stark. And the mouth kind of starts just under the nose there. And underneath here there's quite a bit of gold, and it's quite, shall we say, it's quite, it kind of sticks up a bit from the rest of the paint, so I had to paint quite a lot over it. So hopefully that won't make her mouth look distorted. But I do want her to have a nice smile. So I'll just paint it this deep red to start with, and then see how I can change it later. That means putting teeth in, which is always tricky. Not the easiest thing to do, because they've got to be just big enough to be visible, but at the same time quite dainty for this dainty little face. I tried working on the face a bit, but it was very difficult because the paint just doesn't dry very quickly. Obviously oil, and there is a lot of oil in the paint and on this very smooth background. So as I lay the paint down, and then the brush just moves it away again as I do the next bit. So, and there's smudges. So I'm going to just leave it to dry up a little bit. In the meantime, I've got magenta and I've got violet, and I'm going to lay them down in the background and cover where there is this pattern from the blowout. And you can see there's a lot of marks in the design, and that was because I had intentionally made a botanical design. But that's fine, that just adds to the character of the piece. So this magenta is pretty close, and I'll add little bits of violet if I think it's justified. I think it's going to look better leaving the dress with those colours. I hope so, because once I've put all this down, there'll be no going back. It's very dark, and so it should be interesting. The whole idea when not the whole idea, but when I first had this idea, I thought of how can I keep the colours of the blowout in the painting, in the main subject of the painting. So, and it's varied from painting to painting depending on the size of the subject. Some birds are just too small, some are large enough, and so some you just don't see much of the background. And then sometimes you keep the background in, like in the kingfishers, I kept the background in the birds and in the background, and it was just too busy keeping them in both, the acrylic blowout in both places. So I think this will look better because there's a lot of the body that can retain the background.